Welcome to Fragments of Rock. Not dealing with a musician this time, we're dealing with another legend, a legend from the world of football, who I was honoured to work with and meet and interview. Your grandfather, one of his heroes was Tomy Lawton. And to any Notts County supporter, of course, from those days and later, Tomy Lawton is just a magic name. And when he left football, he, like a lot of footballers, went into pub management. It went wrong. And in a sense, a lot of Nottingham people never forgave him for it, which I thought, well, at the time, never forgave him for it, which I felt was terrible. And I happened to bump into Tomy, thought, what a nice guy he is. And then when you get to know him, you knew the reason the pub thing went wrong was he just didn't know about handling money. How many other people don't know about handling money? He'd been an ace footballer. That's what he was good at. He was good at cracking the ball in the net. He wasn't good at handling his bank balance. So I got a friendship with Tomy, and we used to often do charity nights together. And during that time, I said to him, "You've got to come into my program and choose your favourite music."
Yeah. So we can't play the music, can we, for our
no.
DRS reasons or whatever? But you can imagine it. So most of the tracks, you know, don't you? So we can hum along. Yeah. So what year was it, Dad?
December 1983.
Oh, there's the reel. Okay,
yeah, there's the reel.
Yeah,
there he is. I got an interview with Tomy Lawton. Look at it, wonderful. So, yeah, that's all you need to know, isn't it?
Yeah, let's listen to the first track.
Will You Know Come Back Again from the Scottish National Orchestra and Chorus. And that was the first choice of my special guest today. He's been described as the greatest centre-forward England ever produced. When he joined Everton for a transfer fee of £6,500, it was to replace the immortal Dixie Dean. And when he teamed up with Notts County in 1947, it was for the then first transfer fee of £20,000. Tomy Lawton is the man, of course. And Tomy, I think we'd better go immediately back to your first choice, because you weren't born in Scotland. So why start with that piece of music?
Well, John, it brings back such happy memories for me, because when I played against Scotland in 1939, I scored the winning goal in the last minute. We beat them 2-1.
How did you feel when the ball went in the net?
Well, there was deathly silence, you see. I always remember dear old Bill Shankly. Bill was a very, very great friend of mine, all through his days as a player at Preston and with Scotland. And I always remember his story about him. And I could hear the net. "Let it come," he says. And he said it hit the back of the net like he said, "I could have killed him," he said. But I have so many friends out there in Scotland. It brings back so many happy memories to me.
So we've established, of course, you weren't born in Scotland. So where were you born? Let's start right at the beginning.
Well, I was born in Bolton, 1919.
So you're a Lancashire lad?
I'm a Lancashire lad, proud of it. I was brought up with my mother and my grandfather.
Where was your father then?
My mother and my father parted when I was 18 months old. My mother was working. And
would that be in the mills being involved?
That was in the cotton mills, yes. She worked the looms in the cotton mills. And, of course, my grandfather looked after me. And what I became after I was a boy was more or less through James Hugh Riley, because he was like a father to me. To him, I owed everything in my younger days.
Was he a keen footballer?
Oh, yes. My uncles were. I had 3 uncles there, Harold and Fred and Jack. We used to call it going on the bottom, you know. They had no such thing as playing fields and that sort of thing in those days. And made our own goals with jackets and what have you and that. And I always remember playing down on the bottom one Sunday morning after I'd been to church, which was, we had to do that in those days. And I should think I would be about, 12 years of age. My uncles, they used to go down onto the bottom, and on a Sunday morning they used to play for a tanner a man. And they were one short, so they said, "Oh, nip home and get your boots and you can play." And I always remember I got clogged with them and I started to cry. And they said, "Come on, get up, what are you crying for? No need for do that, we're on a tanner a man here." You'll only get threepence if you keep going on like that. And this sort of background was brought up in an atmosphere of sport. You know, we weren't well off or anything like that, but I never went hungry. Always had a good home.
Now, you joined Burnley at quite a tender age, didn't you?
I joined Burnley from school at 15. Strange, Bolton offered me, Charlie Fowraker, who was the manager at Bolton at the time, he said he would like to sign me on amateur forms and what have you. So my grandfather said to him, well, he said, he said he's due for leaving school and what have you. What can you offer him? Well, he said, we can find him a job. He said, what sort of a job? Thinking that he might put me on the ground staff. So he said, well, we can get him in a butcher's shop. My grandson said, what? He said, riding a bike, delivering? He said, yeah. He says, and how much is that going to get? He said, 7 and 6 a week. He said, I can find him a job like that. He says, any time. He said, good morning. He says, you'll never see us again. And from that, of course, Bill Hawke stepped in with Burnley. They offered my grandfather a job, looking after the A-team ground. They gave me a job in the office. They transported us to the top of Brunshire Road, which is the top of the hill from the football ground. Very good wages. And I blossomed from there, from the A-team into the second team. I'm sure they did it through desperation, really. It was the fact that they looked like going down into the third division. Old Seth Smith, who wasn't having a very, very good season as the first team centre forward, I wasn't scoring many goals. And they put me in when I was 16, and I always remember playing against Doncaster Rovers at Turfmoor, against Sid Bycroft. Never forget that experience in all my life. I've still got the bruises left from what he did then. The following week we played Swansea at Vetchfield, and we won 2-0, and I got both goals. Those were my first 2 league goals. Of course, I was over the moon. Big-headed.
Yeah.
My head was like Birkenhead. They had to Vaseline my ears to get through the door kind of thing, you know. But it was soon stopped when Billy Dougal and the rest of the lads says, don't think because you got 2 goals that you're a great player. Sit down and be quiet. Of course, I wanted to see the papers, you see what they said about young Lawton. They wouldn't let me near them. And Billy Dougal took me home, the trainer, took me home to my grandfather and said he hasn't got to see the Sunday papers. He says, don't let him read the back page. He says, tear it out and put it on the fire. That was the beginning of keeping my nut down, you know, which was a good thing. I didn't think so at the time, but looking back.
Well, your next choice is McNamara's Band.
Well, McNamara's Band again brings me to another club, Everton. They put the polish on. When we won the championship in 38 and 9, every time we played away, we always sang McNamara's Band. In other words, it was more or less our signature tune. And of course that brings many happy memories back.
Bing Crosby and McNamara's Band. And that was the second choice of my special guest today, Tomy Lawton. Now, Tommy, when you joined Everton, I mean, almost immediately you scored a hat-trick against Spurs, didn't you?
Quite a funny story about that was that, as I said, I signed in New Year's Eve 1936. And in the 37 season, they played Spurs at home. And they drew to each, the first team. I was playing at Bury in the reserves. The replay was on the Monday at White Hart Lane. And of course I was sent for because they were going to make changes. Dixie missed a penalty. Of course I played inside left on the Monday. We lost 4-3. We were winning 3-1, 5 minutes to go. And Morrison got a hat-trick. We were 3-1 up and the referee gave a penalty. Dixie had put the ball on the spot and the linesman was flagging, and the referee went over to the linesman and he changed his decision to a throw-in. And from then on, straight from the throw-in, as I say, this Morrison got 3 in the last 4 minutes and we lost 4-3. But the hat-trick that you were talking about was my first when I turned professional at Burnley.
17.
At 17.
Right.
It was against Spurs at Turf Moor. And dear old Arthur Rowe, who later became manager of Tottenham, as you know, was centre half. I put 3 past him. Well, I scored them, but it was because I was very, very fortunate at Burnley. I had old players, people like Bob Brottlebank and Dusty Miller, Alec Robinson. They were so good to me because although I was a big lad, I mean, I was 6 feet and I was 13 stone, but I didn't have the speed or the thought as a man in his 20s or early 30s had. And they always used to be shouting to me, helping me, and never giving me the ball if it was a 50-50 chance. It was always a fact, when they could, they gave me the ball when it was 60-40 to me. And this I learned very quickly, more quickly at Everton than I did at Burnley, because they were classier players. I mean, they were internationals at Goodison.
When did you first play for England?
I played for England in September 1938. My first game was at Cardiff, and we lost 4-2. I scored from a penalty, and I played against my old teammate, Tommy Jones, T.G. Jones. He was Goodison centre-half. And then we beat Ireland 7-1 at Old Trafford when Willie Hall, dear old Willie, scored the 5 goals. And Stan came out of his shell and scored one, Stan Matthews, for a change. And I got the other one. And then, of course, we played Scotland at Hampden that we've had before.
Now, in 1945, you joined Chelsea.
Yes.
And then we'll move on to Notts County, because we must get into the Notts County era as soon as we can. November 1947.
That was right, yes. Yes, I signed with Notts in the Great Western Royal Hotel at Paddington.
But Magpies were in the 3rd division then?
That's right, yes, they were third from the bottom.
What is an England player doing joining a 3rd division club? I mean, it's unthinkable now.
Well, I promised Arthur Stollery, who was the manager of Notts County at the time. Well, Arthur used to be the masseur at Chelsea. Arthur and I struck up a very, very great friendship. He came in one morning when I was on the table having a massage, and he came in and he said, "I've got the sack." Well, I thought it was an unjust sack because he was a wonderful masseur and a wonderful organiser of the medical thing and knew his stuff. He said, "I'm going to apply for the manager's job at Notts County." I says, "And if you get it," I says, "and I've got any trouble here, I'll join you." I said, "if you've got the wherewithal for the transfer fee." He said, "Is that a promise?" I said, "Yes, it's a promise." And of course, things didn't turn out at Chelsea, and I fulfilled my promise. Simple as that.
We'll stay in the Notts County era, but meanwhile we'll have your next choice, which is Jimmy Young.
I met Jimmy Young whilst I was at Stamford Bridge. He was such a grand chap, and we had 1 or 2 good laughs together. And every time I hear Jimmy Young, it brings back a few more memories.
So that's interesting, isn't it, in itself? Because we heard on a previous interview from the boat club and the beachcomber about loyalty. You know that
Yes.
Led Zeppelin came back out of loyalty. Rod Stewart came back out of there's loyalty there, and you've got a superstar in the football world going to 3rd division, Notts County.
A gentleman's agreement. That's in the days, this is going to sound really old-fashioned. That's when football was a gentleman's game played by gentlemen.
When you got to when you were interviewing him, was he continued to be a grounded person? You know, he's well, one of the greats of all time.
He was totally grounded, totally grounded. I mean, if he'd have been arrogant, I wouldn't have liked him and put him on the radio, to be honest with you. Well, not for long. I just had terrific warmth for Tommy. In fact, it actually relaunched his career. The Nottingham Evening Post took him up. Actually, I've got that. It's in Barry Williams' book. Barry Williams, who was the editor, took him up, and he said, "I'm going to apply for the manager's job at Notts County." And of the Post. I put my glasses on because I need to read to you. While I was driving to a Forest match in 1984, I heard a magical name from my childhood, from the dad's long-gone footballing era, Tomy Lawton, legendary footballer, regarded by many as the best centre-forward ever to play for England. He was interviewed on BBC Radio Nottingham by John Holmes, and I was immediately enthralled by the man. That chance led to a friendship which has a remarkable, as it was cherished. So, and he started ghostwriting for the Post. Well, not ghostwriting. He started to have a column in the Post.
Yeah, because I remember being a Notts fan. I remember the Tomy Lawton the column. So that had been in the 80s. That would have been in the 80s. And
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So in the second interview that we're going to hear, it's going to be like a kind of like a who's who of Notts fans of my generation and older of kind of names, and it's really interesting. Just and again, do you think that is that thread again of when you hear him talk? It's kind of like he's just very casual about it, isn't he?
Yes, very matter of fact. Yeah, just happened to hit the ball, it went in the net. But I've got you must show a picture of that tie I've got with all those names on. It's they're not genuine autographs, but it's an interesting Notts County tie.
Yeah. Well, I'll have a look. Let's have a look at this. Let's listen to this interview, the second part of the interview, and then we'll see the names that are reeled off.
Frank Sinatra and My Way. Well, on this programme, Tommy, your name came up a few weeks ago when Jack Wheeler was on. He was talking about the past, because you were responsible, of course, for bringing Jack to Notts County originally.
Yes, I was player manager at Kettering. When Notts asked me to come back here as a manager, I asked Jack if he would like to come as trainer. So I brought him with me.
And you did Notts County a big favour by bringing Jack there, didn't you?
Well, yes, he's been a good servant to them, hasn't he? I mean, 26 years, was it?
That's right.
He's done a great job for them.
Tommy, let's get right up to date. I mean, you've mentioned the fact that you're disappointed in the support that teams like Notts County get.
Yes.
What do you think's gone wrong?
I just can't understand it. I mean, I don't suppose the Notts County officials can understand it either. Here they've come from the 4th Division right up to the 1st. The first year that they came in, I mean, the gates weren't excessive, were they?
No.
This, I would have thought, would have been the time for the true Notts County person to really say, well, here, let's give them a chance. Let's go and back them and get through the turnstiles and get the money so that they can afford to bring some class players into the side. 1 or 2 class players would probably have made a side that would have been going for European football. But one doesn't know, you see, with Forest having such great success over the past few years, worthily so and rightly so, and good luck to them. Those youngsters have grown up Forest, whereas in my day, they grew up black and white. These boys as they were then are now men, are Forest people instead of Notts County people. I think that has a lot to do with it, basically.
Well, let's put the boot on the other foot then. Do you go to see football? Do you ever go down and see Notts County?
Occasionally I've been down, yes, but I don't go as often as I would like. I'll tell you for why, John, is the fact that you don't know whether you're going to come home, in an ambulance or that is my, worry. In the fact that one can't seem to be able to pass an opinion even if you're sat in the stand without somebody turning around and want to argue with you.
And you don't see results where your team wins 9-2 nowadays, do you? Although it is getting better again. There seems to be more goals.
Well, what I can't understand is this, that the grounds are still the same. The markings on the grounds are still the same. The touchlines are there. The goalposts are still the same. The nets are still behind the goalposts. The corner flags are still there. There's a referee, and there's 2 linesmen, and there's 11 players either side. And all we can hear is square 4 or square... Going back to the old BBC times of 19, when Raymond Glendenning used to do it, and square 3 and square 4. And all they do is put a square ball across. Nobody ever gets in the box. Well, if you don't get in the box, how the hell can you score? They're scared of missing. I always used to say, if you miss them, you're bound to score them. And if you score them, you're bound to miss them. But there's only one way to do them, and that's to hit them. And every time I was taught by Ray Bennion at Burnley, in my tender years there at 15 and 16 and 17. See a white line, hit it. And I always did. If there was somebody in a better position than me, I'd give it to them. But 9 times out of every 10, if I saw a white line and I knew it was on the penalty box, I'd hit it. And that's the only thing, because I was hungry for goals. I love scoring goals. They didn't even have to hit the back of the net, as long as they went over the line and the referee pointed to the centre. And I love scoring goals, I did. And I loved to see other people get them as well, as long as they were on my side. But I used to love it. And that is the trouble today, they're scared of missing. I've always said, and I always will say, that if you take 1 in 3 chances in every match you get, you'll be in the 30 or the 40 odd goals a year. Because you're bound to get 3 half chances somewhere along that line in 90 minutes, somewhere. And if you get 1 of those 3, you are doing well. You take a man like Greavesy. So a lot of people turn around to me and say, I wouldn't have him in my side. Here's a bloke gets 40 odd goals a season, and they won't have him in the side. He could get pneumonia for me as long as he gets 40 odd goals a season. He could get cold every Saturday. Say, well, what's his work rate? What does it matter what his work rate is as long as he's in the back of the net? Let somebody else do the work rate for him and take the weight off him. Same with Jackie Sewell. Just the same with Jack. People have turned around to me and said, well, you made Jackie Sewell. Well, I didn't make Jackie Sewell. Jackie Sewell made himself. He's never had real credit for what he has done. He played. When he left me and went to Sheffield Wednesday, and then he went to Aston Villa. I mean, Jack and I, he was my best man for my wedding with Gay at Caxton Hall. And Jack and I have been pals ever since. And Jackie was a better player than what people thought he was. The proof is that when he left me and went to Sheffield Wednesday and then went on to the Villa, he was capped for England. He wasn't playing with me then.
Tommy, thanks very much for coming on the programme. We have to end with your 5th choice, which is a rather lovely one, isn't it, from Barbara Streisand?
Well, it is, and this is for my wife, because we shared many memories together, and hope to do so for a long time to come.
He brought a Jack Wheeler to Notts, the statue that our names are on at the bottom.
One of my and he's one of my heroes, Jack. As well, a lovely man.
And Sewell as well. I mean, and then Sewell as well, isn't it? I mean, just to kind of, he made himself really. Just very kind of
so humble.
So humble, yeah, so humble, yeah. And so you continue to work with Tommy. So this was again mid-80s. Then how long were you working with Tommy through?
Well, it sort of dropped off, that sort of work, because he was writing a column for the Post, and he was on his way again, so he didn't need me sort of mentoring, if that can be the right word. Yeah. We did I tell you about the football exhibition?
No.
History of football. I think that's the picture, but Tomy Lawton, John Robertson, Jack Burkitt, and me in the middle. I put that together because they had a history of football on at Nottingham Castle, and I thought this is a great opportunity to get these 3 guys together who I knew, bring them in together, and do it like different eras of football. It's wonderful, wonderful.
Right then, okay. So Tomy Lawton, and we've got some other Nottingham kind of legends. We've got a bit on Torval and Dean, haven't we, as well? To come. Yeah. And we'll do that at some stage.
Definitely.
Yeah, great, because you were there in Copenhagen, weren't you? And
I was there in Copenhagen.
And helped choose the music, of course.
Well, I helped them choose. Yes, I did. Yeah, that was Mac and Mabel.
Mac and Mabel, yeah. Right. Anyway, we'll get on to another story to tell.
Okay.